be paying less to women because we're women if we're making the same type of quality work, or you cannot judge us for not doing the same type of work if we have not been given the same opportunity. Blanca was a surprise in the sense that I'm barely there in the first 2 seasons, and I never thought I was going to be in more than 3 episodes. I remember the first day and the director telling me, Michael Trim told me, you might not be as crazy as you think. That's it. Just whatever choices you make. I'm like, okay. And then the materialist, she's coming out eating toilet paper. What? And as we evolved and the character started evolving, I discovered that there was something organically intrinsic to this character about survival. And she is someone who does not care about the rules, nor about pretending to be something that she's not. And that was a beautiful thing. It was very freeing as an actor to portray this character. I'm very grateful for it.
How is it as a woman of color? Like, do you experience even more difficulties, or is it maybe sometimes easier on some accounts?
It's both, I feel, because what makes it is, I think it's very important. I've been working on this for a while to acknowledge the obstacles and limitations instead of pretending that they're not. I mean, at least that's what works for me. I try not to dismiss what is a reality, but I also try not to let that guide or determine my capabilities and what I'm doing. So it has been challenging because I don't get to audition sometimes, or I get to audition, but I don't get chosen for certain roles that are more mainstream or they have specific type of way of talking or way of behaving that is not necessarily my temperament or it's not necessarily my accent. So there are those boxes that certainly I don't fit in. But at the same time, there are opportunities that you can only be for you because you every once in a while there's a role like Blanca Flores that only that person who has those qualities and background can do. And so there are opportunities within the limitations of that.
Why is gender equality and inclusion so important to you?
Being in a show that was created by a woman, there were so many women behind the camera. It did give me a perception of there is something very important and rich about having diversity create stories, and I felt very lucky to have this type of quality material versus whatever cliches I've been encountered for so long. I think that sometimes we get so caught up in this conversation in terms of we are all equal. We're not. I love the fact that we're not in terms of our capabilities and physicality and whatever. We're not talking about being the same or having the same. We're talking about having the same right to exist and to be acknowledged as a human being. And in terms of the industry that we're in, you cannot be paying less to women because we're women if we're making the same type of quality work, or you cannot judge us for not doing the same type of work if we have not been given the same opportunities. So there has to be an agreement on getting there. It just makes everything more universal. So the stories are more interesting because you have different points of views.
Do you have some tips for young actresses that want to make a career?
I I think what I would say is the role of an actor can be it's a beautiful thing. I feel it's a language that I of course love and appreciate, and but sometimes the role itself can feel very passive because we're waiting for things to happen, and it can discourage you because you can connect a little bit of the lots of rejections that you get with your own self-esteem, and that's a dangerous thing. So I think what I would recommend, and I always do to people, is what I've learned from friends who are filmmakers and writers who I see they keep doing their thing. Now, nobody is the external validation is not as needed because you're the one creating, and I feel that that's where I feel the best. And it doesn't mean that you have to write; it just means that you have to develop other muscles. think it's very important to be a part of that, the creative aspect of it. So that would be my recommendation to young actresses out there. Create your own